What is up, Flockers? That is my fellow Lockers and aspiring Lockers. In today's video, I am going to be showing you how I do my DIY shampoo and black soap. So if you're interested in seeing that, then make sure you stick around. Y'all, I actually filmed this footage probably 2, if not 3 months ago, and I've just been sitting on it because I was like, is anyone even interested in this? Did I just waste time? Am I gonna put up a video that nobody's gonna watch or be interested in? And then thanks to Courtney, who literally watches each and every single one of my videos and takes the time to comment on every single one of my videos, as well as other Flockers do too. So shout out to all of y'all that like, that comment, because I really do appreciate it. I love interacting with each and every one of you, and I'm so thankful for all the Flockers who are here. If you're not already subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. But yes, so it was Courtney who specifically mentioned this, and so I was like, you know what? I already filmed this footage. Let me go ahead and put it together. So this one is for you. Thank you for going ahead and giving me that push to know that this is something that at least one person will be interested in, and hopefully it'll be helpful to others. In one of my previous vlogs recently, I just showed how I make my body butter. So if you've not checked that out, then check out the vlog where I showed how I make my body butter. But let's go ahead and get into it, and I will just kind of walk you through my process and what I do for my African black hand soap and African black shampoo. So as you can see here, I start off with a large block of African black soap. I got this from Amazon, just like I get the majority of my life from. And I just go in and I scrape off shavings with a knife. And the thinner the shavings are, the better it's going to be when it is time to disintegrate all of this in the hot water. So I try to get the shavings nice and thin as possible, but I'm not sitting there and paying attention to how thin or thick the shavings are. So once I've done that, I go ahead and put them into a little tiny mason jar. And I'm gonna actually end up doing 2 cups worth, one for the shampoo and one for the soap. But the ingredients are almost identical for both of these. So I'm just showing you there that that's about the amount that I have in 1 cup. Then I went back in and did some more shaving so that I could add for a 2nd cup for the same purpose to get this process going. And there's no rhyme or reason to how you shave it. It doesn't, I mean, maybe some people think there are, but I shave up, down, left, right, diagonal. It doesn't matter. The most important thing is that you get it as thin as possible. That way you don't have to spend as much time waiting for it to melt in the hot water. And something that I did off camera was go ahead and fill up my kettle so that I would already have the hot water ready to go. So now I've got my 2 glasses there, and they are both filled about halfway up. And it's all up to you about how much soap you want. So here, I'm pouring in the water. It's had a little time to cool down, so it's not boiling hot, but it is still very hot. And you put in the amount of water that you want. The more water you put in, the less soapy, I guess it's going to be. But you don't want to put too little that you don't have enough to last for what you want. So I put about enough to cover all of the shavings and then a little bit more. And then I go in and just give it a good stir to get the mixture going and to get it to start dissolving in the water. And like I said, depending on how much water you put in, that's going to determine how thin or thick your solution is in the end and how much you have ultimately. So then I just go ahead and I cover them up with their tops, and I leave them for approximately about 10 or 15 minutes because you do want to give it time to melt as much as possible. And then I'm gonna go in on the side and add some vegetable glycerin in. So I've got a little teaspoon there. And the vegetable glycerin is a humectant, so it brings in moisture from the outside environment, which is why I use it in pretty much anything that I put in my hair and on my skin. So I did 2 teaspoons of of that vegetable glycerin, and then I go in with xanthan gum. And this is an agent that adds thickness. You'll see that this will be on your ingredients for not just hair products, but also for skin products as well as food, because this is a thickening agent that they use to thicken things. So just like you can use cornstarch to thicken up soups or broths or something like that, this is what I use to thicken it up, because I want my shampoo to be thin so that it doesn't get caught in my hair and I'm not having buildup. But I want my soap to be thicker and have a little bit thicker of a consistency. So I mix in xanthan gum, and it's pretty much measured to what you want. So with this one, I can't really give an accurate one because it honestly just depends on how thick you want your consistency. Now, if you want it to still be runny, then you can do that. But I like my soap to be a little bit thicker. So I go in and I keep adding more xanthan gum a little bit at a time, just to make sure that I get a thick amount that I want. You don't want to add too much, because if you add too much, then it's just going to end up being a dry glob. And so it's good to kind of go in and add a little bit at a time. And later on, you'll see when I add it directly into the mix, it gets clumped up. So this is why I mix it with the vegetable glycerin, because it helps so that it doesn't get so clumpy and just clump together. So that's why I do that with that mixture. And then I'm just adding some more vegetable glycerin to these containers that I'm going to use. And this is going to be the oils that are going to go into the shampoo and the soap. So I go in first with some jojoba oil, and there's no particular order that you have to do these. This is just what I did. And I got a teaspoon. All right, so I'm putting, I believe, 2 teaspoons, or no, just 1 teaspoon of jojoba oil in each of these, along with the 2 teaspoons of vegetable glycerin. And then I go in with some almond oil, and also do same part almond oil that I did jojoba. So a teaspoon of almond oil in both of these mixtures. And I use the oils simply to add moisture back into my hair and skin. So now I go in with vitamin E oil, and I don't know why I was being special and trying to use the dropper instead of just pouring stuff, but it took me a minute before I realized I could just pour it directly into the teaspoon thing. So a teaspoon of vitamin E oil into each mixture. And then I go in with some tea tree oil. You know, the tea tree is good for the scalp. It has a lot of healing properties for itching and stuff. So with each of my essential oils, I go in with about 10 drops, sometimes 11 or 12 get in if I can't fill it up quick enough, but it's about 10 drops. And then I went in with some cedarwood oil, and same thing. I did about 10 drops, and each with the cedarwood oil. And cedarwood oil has a very distinct smell to it. So depending on how you like your fragrances to smell, you may or may not want to use a lot of that. All of the essential oils are pretty strong though. Rosemary, also great for the scalp, great for itching, great for an antifungal. Again, about 10 drops of the rosemary that's going to go into both of those. And then after I do my rosemary, I went in with some peppermint, and I was at the very bottom of this vial of peppermint. And so when I got to the second one, I ended up having to just use another thing of peppermint that I had, but it's the same essential oil. Then I went in with vanilla. The vanilla is simply for fragrance. I love the way that this vanilla smells, and so I put this into a lot of my hair daily mist and oils and things like that that I use for my locks. And I put about 3 squirts, which probably ends up being half a tablespoon of vanilla. Then I go in and give them both a nice little mixture. And now what I want to do is add this oil concoction that I have made to each of these. And at the current time, they're both the same. So I have not added any thickening agent to either of these, but I'm adding the oil. And as you can see, it separates pretty quickly from the black soap mixture. So I'm just going to give that a little stir and mix it up, even though it's still going to separate as soon as I stop stirring. And then in the second one, I'm adding the mixture of the xanthan gum and the glycerin, the vegetable glycerin. And what this is going to do is that this is going to add thickness to this one, and this one will end up being my hand soap. It takes a little time, and at first when you put it in, you don't think it's really doing anything, but the more you stir, it thickens up. And as it cools down, it also thickens up as well. And so I've added the oil to that one, and I give that one a good stir as well. And as you see, the one on the left is having serious separation. So it's good to always make sure before you use these that you shake them up well. All right, and then I just decided that I wanted to add some more thickening agent because I wanted it to be a thicker consistency even before cooling down. Again, I would not advise pouring xanthan gum directly into any mixture that's not the thicker vegetable oil, vegetable glycerin type, just because it does not mix well. As you can see here on the spatula, it clumps and you end up having to do a lot more mixing on the back end trying to get it smooth. All right, so once I've mixed those up really well and to my liking, I go ahead and use a funnel and pour them directly into applicator bottles. And so I have 2 applicator bottles, one for the soap and one for my shampoo. And so that one is the soap, and it's a very thin, the shampoo. It's a very thin consistency, like I said. This one's going in my locks, and so I do not want a thick one going to my locks that it's going to be very difficult for me to wash out. But what I love about the shampoo is that it is very moisturizing because of all those oils I put in there. So even though it does strip the hair of all the gunk and old oils that were in my hair, it also replenishes at the same time. I know that sounds counterintuitive or counterproductive or whatever, but it just works. It's super moisturizing, but also very cleansing. And then there you can kind of see the difference that one looks a little thicker than the other. It's hard to see on camera, but especially after it cools, you can tell. And then here I wanted to give an example of what it was like to use the soap, just so that you can see it in action and know that you saw how thick it is, kind of the consistency that the soap is right there, and just to give you an example of how well it lathers and that it is extremely moisturizing. And the shampoo is the exact same way. The shampoo is not as thick for me, but I get the same type of lather when I'm washing my hair with the African Black Soap DIY shampoo. So as you see there, I'm out there scrubbing in like I'm about to scrub into a surgery, but my hands felt so moisturized and so good after this. And my locks feel the exact same way when I use the shampoo to wash with. If you found this video helpful at all, make sure to hit that like button and also hit the subscribe button to join the flock. And drop it down in the comment section and let me know if you've ever tried either of these recipes or something similar to it. Or let me know if you're going to try it in the future. I'd be really interested to know if you're going to try these recipes for yourself. Again, I love interacting with the flockers. It's such an honor and such a great thing for me to do. I'm so thankful for all of y'all. We're getting close to 1,000 subscribers, so let's keep on going. And before you go anywhere, make sure to stick around for a little bit longer and check out some of these other videos that have popped up on the screen. I'll see you there.